the recording and just give it a couple more minutes, see if anybody else will join. There was a couple people who said they had maybes on there, but we'll see if they pop on. How long have you been using oils, Jody?
Gosh, 2007?
Oh,
Yeah, 2007. Yeah.
long time.
Yep.
Good for you. I bought my kit in 2014 and didn't use it until I had a heart attack. Maybe if I'd used it, I wouldn't have had it.
Mm-hmm. So how long after you had your kit did you have your heart attack?
I got my kit in 2014 and I didn't, 2017, and I didn't have my heart attack until 2021. So quite a, 4 years. It just sat there looking pretty, and when I was trying to figure out what the hell happened, I thought, well, I got to do something about my stress. So that's where I started.
Right. So you just had a heart attack recently, though.
Yes, I did.
Was that your second one, I thought?
Yes, it was.
Okay,
Both
so two of them in 1 year?
18 months apart.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stress is residual. Stress doesn't just leave your body when you stop working, apparently.
Yep.
It sticks around for quite a long time because I didn't have any medical reasons that I should have been having it either time. So, yeah. Well, let's get started. And if somebody joins us, that's great. But I am recording this, so it will be up on the YouTube channel, and if people can I can just link it back to the page. I don't use my YouTube channel for anything other than storing videos, really. I'd like to just start off by saying thank you for coming. I'm really pleased that you're here. I designed this course in February and presented it. My naturopath and I had an evening where we presented this because she is noticing the volume of people in her practice coming for stress related issues is increasing day over day, the numbers of people coming for stress relief. And so we did this at her office as a kind of a community education night. So it's kind of focused on people who don't know a lot about essential oils. So if you do, like you do, Jody, just use it as a kind of a refresher or just an easing into the information. I do like to tell everybody that I am not a medical practitioner. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a naturopath. So if you have medical conditions that you're wondering about, please incorporate this information in a conversation with your healthcare provider, and hopefully they're open enough to listen to you about what you'd like to do. I find my naturopath extremely helpful because she will look up, because of my 2 heart attacks. I had a heart attack in 2021 and then a more severe heart attack in 2020. I had my first one, and in November of 2021 I had an even more severe one, all due to stress. And so I'm on a lot of medications for the stents that I have while they heal. So my naturopath will actually look up all of my oils and my supplements to make sure there's no interactions with my medications. So it's nice when you can find healthcare practitioners who will work together with you instead of trying to get you to choose one way or the other. So what we talk about tonight, it's not been evaluated by Health Canada. The products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. These are lifestyle. This is a lifestyle conversation tonight, and you're going to find that lifestyle is incredibly important. And if you have any questions, just pop them in. So this is the kind of basic things for people who aren't sure what essential oils are and why we would think that they would actually help you reduce your stress. So essential oils are actually the liquids extracted from plants. So think of them as kind of plant concentrates in a bottle. As the plant photosynthesizes sunlight to make food and medicine for itself, that's what the essential oils come from, is the photosynthesized sunlight. So basically, if you want to think of it this way, essential oils are basically liquid sunshine. And they actually help the plant stay healthy. You'll notice if you do some research on them, a lot of them are antifungal or antibacterial. And those are the kinds of activities that they would perform in the plants. And essential oils are basically the extracts, these liquids extracted out of plants. And it's made by steaming or pressing various parts of the plant, whether it's the flowers, the bark, the leaves, or the fruit, to capture the compounds. These compounds often have fragrance. And it can take several pounds of a plant to produce a single bottle of essential oil. And if rose is probably the one that has the most plant material required per 5 mils of essential oil. In addition to creating scent in the plant, they perform other functions. Like I said, they're antibacterial, they're antifungal. They're often they're often like pesticidal. So if there's pests that come to eat the plants have these oils that the smells can repel pests. So if you use tea tree oil or citronella for insect repellent on yourself, that's the function that it would probably perform in the plant. But when we inhale these scent molecules in the essential oils, it goes right through our olfactory nerves in our nose, right into the limbic system in our brain, and impact an area of the brain called the amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain. It's also a very old center of the brain. The whole limbic system is really focused on behavior and responses. But essential oils can also be absorbed by your skin. And you would find that would be helpful if you wanted to add a couple of drops of wintergreen oil to a carrier oil and rub them down into your muscles, or lavender to a bath, to Epsom salts to make a soak. Those help your muscles. So we can use essential oils for aromatherapy, home cleaning, personal care, and overall health and wellness. But the thing is, not all essential oils are created equally. So it's really important to understand how essential oils are created. They are extracted from plant material, and these extractions are used to obtain the plant's active botanical constituents, the things that function as the plant's life force. So they're effectively the liquefied version of the plant, the life of the plant. And they allow these essential oils release their beneficial compounds into our bloodstream faster than they would by simply consuming the plant. Essential oils have extremely small molecules, and this is what allows them to enter the bloodstream very quickly. And for some essential oils, they can even pass the blood-brain barrier. So then there's a herbal extract, which is produced when a botanical material is introduced to a solvent, in which some of the plant materials dissolve. And ultimately, the solvent becomes infused with the botanical material that it is pulled from. Now, we have to remember that even water is a solvent. So you have to get very aware of what kinds of things the company that you buy your essential oils from uses to extract these oils. So once the botanical materials have had these oils pulled from them, the end process can be a liquid, and then they take them apart through distillation. So Young Living uses steam extraction of plant material at low temperatures and low pressures to help preserve the viability of the oil. You've heard of cold pressed vegetable oils, think cold pressed avocado oil or cold pressed olive oil. And they do that so that they don't heat up the material and lose the viability and the natural goodness in the oil. It's the same with essential oils. So Young Living uses low temperature and low pressure to preserve the constituents of the oil and make them the highest quality and with the least loss of plant viability. So other companies use more chemical solvents. The problem with that, or high temperature, so they use chemical solvents or high temperature. So chemical solvents can't be removed from the oil once it's completed. Once the oil distillation is done, you can't remove that solvent. So if you were using it on your body, you would be putting that into your system as well. And at high temperature, while it could say lavender oil on the bottle, the chemical constituents would have been degraded by the heat. Much like pasteurization degrades the nutrition of food, or cooking degrades the nutrition of food, high temperature distillation degrades the nutrition, the body nutrition of essential oils. So it's really important, no matter what oil you're buying, to understand how the company extracts the oil. So it takes a little bit of research. And if you've ever bought essential oils from like the store and not ever seen any changes or improvements in yourself while you're using them, it may be because of the way the company has distilled that oil. There's nothing left in it. There's nothing alive left in the oil. So there's nothing there to help support your body. So this is why Young Living is so important to me. I've told people a lot that, and I'll talk about it in a minute, but we have a small farm, and knowing how important it is to have healthy soil and a healthy ecosystem on a farm, a little farm, to get the best vegetable nutrition and the best air quality and the best bee habitat. The seed to seal commitment that Young Living has is what sold me on this company more than anything. And Young Living monitors the process of creating these oils right from the time they have a seed in their hand to the time there's oil in the bottle. So the seed to seal commitment is a quality commitment and a promise that Young Living makes to us, its consumers. And it consists of 3 pillars: sourcing, science, and standards. And these pillars are like the foundation on which all of the products, over 600 Young Living products, are created. And it ensures that you can trust Young Living products to be of the highest quality, safety, and purity, and free from synthetics. Now, quality and purity, I've talked about, they're very important because that's what ensures the product works. And sourcing is important because Young Living has many corporately owned farms, so farms that they own and that you can visit, and then they have partner farms who have to qualify to become a partner farm. And the seed to seal commitment ensures that these suppliers, these partner farms, also have the commitment to sustainability and safe farming practices. Now, the science component, Young Living has over 50 highly trained scientists and in 2 corporate labs. And then they also have 12 independent partner labs that they work with. So not only is the oil tested at Young Living labs, but it is also sent out and tested at external labs for quality control and retesting, so that we can be assured that our products are pure as nature intended. This is really important. Sometimes if you go to other oils, whether they're a grocery store or small stores or competitors, those testing regimes are not as rigorous. And the really inexpensive oils are often not even what they say on the label. And then the last pillar is standards. And so Young Living, I get asked often if Young Living has organic certification, and it doesn't, and it won't get it. Not because it doesn't want it, but because organic certification is different in every country. So what Young Living does is they use the seed to seal commitment, and they incorporate environmental standards and sustainable growing practices in the seed to seal commitment. And strive to go beyond organic. Okay. And so if you want to learn more about Seed to Seal, there's a website, which is basically www.seedtoseal.com, which is nice and easy. But truly, this is the thing that sold me on Young Living products, is being able to be 100% sure that if I'm putting this oil on my grandson or on one of my dogs, that it's quality controlled, that it is what it says it is on the label, and that the land that it comes from also remains healthy. Now, the farms are really important to me as well. So, like I said, Young Living both owns corporate farms and partners with other farms who agree to commit to the Seed to Seal commitment. They have a lavender farm in Mona, Utah, and it grows lavender, clary sage, goldenrod, juniper, grows a lot of things. They have the Skyrider Wilderness Ranch in Utah, and it grows einkorn wheat, which is an ancient grain. They have Highland Flats, which grow in Idaho, which grows Idaho blue spruce and white fir. So trees, it's a tree farm growing trees for essential oil distillation. For Canadians, the big one is Northern Lights Farm and Distillery, which is in Fort Nelson, which is way up in the north of our province of British Columbia. And it specializes in Northern Lights black spruce and Northern Lights white spruce. And now it also does subalpine fir, and another one I can't remember, but so that's a farm in Canada. And all of these farms are available for you to go and visit. You make an appointment, you go and visit them, they'll show you around, they'll show you the distillation processes. They are extremely open and accommodating. Then there's a farm in Seville, Spain. There's a farm on the Big Island of Hawaii that is involved in a sandalwood reforestation project. And that one's really cool because sandalwood there is highly endangered. So they only use fallen trees to create the oil while they're reforesting. There's a beautiful farm in Ecuador, and that's where our ylang ylang comes from, along with a bunch of other things. And it's actually one of the trips, I think when you become a silver leader in Young Living, you get a trip to Ecuador. There's a farm in Dalmatia, which is in Croatia. And those are just some examples of the farms that the company owns. And it's they really go above and beyond what other companies do in terms of setting standards for growing, for land stewardship, and then for product creation. So let's talk a little bit about safety and usage of oils, and then we're going to start getting into stress and what oils we're going to think about using for our stress and how we're going to use them. So there's three main ways of using essential oils. And these are very important that you understand them. So aromatically is smelling, basically through a diffuser or using a scent tent on your nose, putting some oil in your hands and then cupping them over your nose, or dropping it on the floor of your shower so that the steam picks it up and so that you can inhale it. Then there's topical use, which is of course on your body, on your skin, in your hair. And then there's internal usage. Now, the thing about internal usage is that you have to be 100% sure that the oils are distilled in such a way that they're safe to ingest. So Young Living actually uses food safe distillers to distill its oil. And the whole Vitality line or Plus line, depending on if you're in the States or Canada, has a white label. And as you can see in this picture, the Valor has a purple label and the Thieves in this picture has a white label. And the difference is the colored labels are labeled for cosmetic use and instructions. And cosmetic use is topical, okay, or aromatic. It's covered in both of those. The white label, such as on the Thieves bottle, is labeled as a food product and is labeled with a white label. So you can always tell which oils have been approved for food use, which is ingestion, by the color of the label. If they have a white label, they're safe for ingestion. But the thing is, you'll have a Thieves with a white label and a Thieves with a brown label. And it's the same oil inside, but the labeling is different and it has different instructions because it's for a different purpose. So if you're wondering if an oil that you have that has a colored label on it is safe to ingest, go to the Young Living website, go to the Vitality or the Plus lines and see if that oil shows up there. If it shows up there, it's safe to ingest. Okay. So the nice thing about being safe to ingest is you can put it in water. I love to make a cup of Thieves tea before I go to bed, just a cup of hot boiled water, 1 drop of Thieves, a little spoon of honey, and maybe a drop of lemon oil. It's so soothing and relaxing. It's one of those things that can help release some of the end of the day stress, and it doesn't have caffeine in it. And so it will actually help you to kind of just relax and get ready to go to sleep. And that's why it's important. If your oil is safe to use internally, then you can do things like that with it. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so that's the introduction part. So let's talk about stress and why we should reduce it. Stress is probably one of the most overused words in the English language. When I was putting this together, I did some Google searching, and when I typed in stress in Google, I got 6 trillion entries. 6 trillion, right? So it's an important topic. There's a lot of information out there on it. So what is stress? Well, stress really is a normal human reaction that happens to everybody. And in fact, our bodies are actually designed to experience stress and react to it. So when you experience challenges or changes, otherwise known as stressors, your body produces physical and mental responses to those stressors. This is the whole package that we call stress. And stress responses, the production of those hormones, help your body to adjust to new situations. And because stress can be positive, it can keep us alert and motivated and ready to avoid danger, right? Like that kind of adrenaline can be a positive thing. Like if you have say you have a test coming up, your stress response might help your body work harder and stay awake longer. But stress actually becomes a problem when stressors continue without relief or periods of relaxation. And it's so much a product of our 21st century civilization that we are constantly bombarded by stressors. I mean, stressors used to be a lion is running after you, and if you got away from the lion would go away, and that would be the end of the stressor. But for us, we are always connected, always thinking, always doing, and often always stressing. And the impacts of stress on our bodies can be pretty significant. So firstly, stress is a physical and a mental response. We've got to understand that. And it's an evolutionary process that originally was there to help us avoid danger. It's the fight, flight, or freeze component of our body, of our old part of our brain. And this evolutionary adaptation was perfect for acute episodes of stress, for episodes of stress that start and stop. They have a starting, a middle, and a ending, and then it's gone. And I use the lion analogy for that, or your child is in danger and you have to act fast, right? That's acute stress. And stress affects all systems of our body. It affects our cardiac system, our mental, digestive, adrenals, pancreatic, respiratory, muscles, emotional system, all of it. It affects every system we have in our body. And that's because our autonomic nervous system, which controls our breathing, our heart rate, our vision, actually changes under conditions of stress. And it changes because there's several hormones that are released when you're under stress. There's initially the adrenaline. We've all had an adrenaline rush, right? We've all had that. You almost run into somebody when you're driving because you just glance away for a moment and somebody slams on your brake and you have that adrenaline rush as you slam on your brakes and you avoid a collision. And then there is cortisol. And that is a longer acting hormone that helps your organs. Okay. But long-term production of these hormones actually can become a drain on your body. There's a whole new area of research on something called adrenal fatigue, which is kind of a low-grade drained feeling, brain fog, tiredness, but can't sleep. It's a whole series of symptoms. And the thinking is that it's basically a cortisol overload. Because the problem lies when stress becomes chronic, and it's not a one-off escape from a lion. It's just everything is stressful, right? From the time you get up to the time you go to bed, you're just under this constant state of vigilance and hyper alertness and worry and attachment to a phone, to your work. All of those things are factors in chronic stress. And for me, so my heart attack in 2020, I had been very well managed. Like I had doctor's appointments my whole life. So I knew that everybody knew what my cholesterol was. I had a bit of a blood pressure issue. So because of my thyroid, so I was on medication for that. My blood pressure was very well controlled. There were no actual symptoms in my life, in my body, that would indicate that I was at risk for having a heart attack, except for the amount of stress I was under because of my job. And when I was trying to make sense of this after I came back from the hospital the first time, my doctor told me that my heart attack was 100% stress induced. So stress is really important to control.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is crazy. And when I had my second heart attack, I had my second heart attack on a Friday. And on the Wednesday preceding that, the Wednesday before that, I had actually been to the lab and gotten my blood test done. I've had an ECG for my heart. And it was, the results of it were so good that my doctor texted me the next day, the Thursday, and said, results are great. You're doing great. Keep it up. And on Friday, I texted him and said, I'm in the hospital having a heart attack. And so again, there was really no physical indicators that I would be having yet another heart attack. And the second one was worse than the first one. And so when I got home again from that hospital trip, my internal med doctor told me that it's just residual stress in your body. That's the only thing left after they take away all of the other components that could have caused it, that had showed up in lab results as being okay and being actually good. The only other thing could be the residual stress from my job. So it's really important to understand that you can't necessarily just fix this quickly. It is kind of a lifelong commitment to reducing your stress and reducing that level of anxiety and heightened worry in your life, and focusing on things that calm your brain, calm your breathing, get you into nature, and just slow the pace of your life down. Because you can't always fix it once it happens. And it's interesting that the symptoms, the physical symptoms of stress are actually in themselves distressing. Worry is distressing. Palpitations are distressing. Mental anxiety is hugely distressing. And during a stress response, the mind and the body can amplify each other's stress symptoms. So it creates this vicious circle of tension and anxiety, right? So there are some ways that we can work on reducing stress. So there's physical activity. We all know this. We all know that physical activity is good for us. We tend to, a lot of us tend to put that by the wayside as soon as we get busy, and it's one of the first things that we stop doing. But exercise reduces the level of the body's stress hormones, such as adrenaline and cortisol, because it stimulates the production of endorphins, which are other chemicals in the brain, which are natural painkillers and mood elevators. But it's interesting to note that too much intense physical activity can have kind of the opposite effect. So the thing you're going to notice about ways to reduce stress is it's all about balance, right? Cardiovascular exercise is extremely good to get your heart healthy, but yoga, the slowing down, the deep breathing is also equally good for your physical and mental body. Another way of reducing stress, which I find is one of the things that modern people are very lazy with, is breathing. Rapid, shallow, erratic breathing is a common response to stress. Not only rapid, shallow, and erratic, but holding your breath is a very common response to stress. If you find yourself actually holding your breath, your brain actually thinks that you're trying to kill it, that it's dying. So it starts to get anxious. It starts to release anxiety in your body when you stop breathing. So sometimes it's the first thing to do if you're feeling really anxious is just stop and ask yourself, am I breathing? Am I breathing properly? Am I breathing deeply? Am I breathing through my nose? Slow, regular, deep breathing is a good sign of relaxation. Okay. And you can learn to control your respiration so that they mimic relaxation. And in fact, they will be relaxing. So if you do deep breathing, I love a breathing exercise called the box breathing exercise. And you kind of envision a square box and you start over on the left-hand side. You take a deep breath in through your nose and you walk and you pretend like you're drawing up the side of the box and you count to 5. And then you hold your breath and imagine drawing the line across the top of the box. And you do that for 5 counts too. And then you exhale through your mouth for 5, imagining yourself drawing the line down the right-hand side of the box. And then you hold your breath again across the bottom for 5, and then you repeat it. And it is a really gentle way of just kind of bringing you back into your body and into a consciousness of your breathing and just slowing it down and allowing the oxygen to fill your body, and then breathing out through your mouth as a kind of a relaxation push of it out. It's a beautiful little exercise. There's lots of other ones. The other one that I really like is what I call the killer whale breathing. And what you do with that one is you take a deep, deep breath in and you keep breathing in and you keep breathing in and you keep breathing in until you just can't put any more air in your body. And then you count to 5 or 6, try to get to 7 even. And then you exhale through your mouth really, really loudly, like you're a whale exhaling, right? Really loud. And that just forces that stress out of your body. It's really quite amazing how you'll feel like your body, your muscles just relax. So another good way to reduce stress is meditation. And meditation is the prime example of getting your physical and your mental body together in one place, in one process. Because mental stress can speed up the rate of your heart and raise your blood pressure. And meditation can actually reverse those signs. You can actually lower your blood pressure and your heart rate through meditation. Meditation can also reverse the physiological signs of stress. And there's some interesting studies of Indian yoga masters that demonstrate that meditation can actually slow your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, reduce your breathing rate, and actually diminish your oxygen consumption. And the best part is it can reduce your blood adrenaline levels. So it takes some practice, meditation, and I find people give up on it too easily because all of us really busy people, as soon as we sit and we do nothing in quotation marks, our brain starts to feed us things like, oh, I got to remember to do this, and don't forget you have to go there, and what's tomorrow going to be like, and oh my God, what about this? And all of a sudden, all of these things start bombarding you. And the hardest practice of meditation is letting all of that go and just letting your mind float. The best analogy I ever heard of what you should do when these thoughts come into your brain is you acknowledge them and you put them on a cloud and you push the cloud away. So you just let it go. You don't fight it. You just push the thought out of your mind and you let it go. So that's beautiful. And then the topic of tonight, one of the topics of tonight, is aromatherapy. Now, aromatherapy is the use of essential oils to actually reduce mental and physical stress. From anxiety to headaches and digestive issues, breathing in the smell of essential oils can actually trigger messages to be sent to your limbic system, which controls your memory. Remember, your memory and emotions, your behavior and your responses, and how we learn, which is interesting. So when we use aromatherapy, the inhalation of essential oils, we actually stimulate the limbic system and are able to communicate our needs with our brain directly, which is very cool. So here's a little bit more about the limbic system, because this is the most fascinating thing for me. This is a really important partnership between essential oils and the limbic system. So the limbic system is a small part of your brain, like I said, that deals with memories and emotions and actually stimulations. And it's split into a bunch of different sections that work in different ways. For example, the amygdala helps record memories and associate them with feelings. So like you have a fun day out with your family and you were really, really happy. And so now you associate maybe parts of that day with feeling happy. There's the cingulate gyrus that connect different areas of the limbic system together, and that creates pathways, and so brain messages can follow. The hypothalamus is important because that's where hormones are formed, and these hormones, these chemicals, control really important bodily functions like water percentage in your body, your sleep cycles, your body temperature, your food consumption, all kinds of things. So that's just a couple of the things that makes the limbic system really complicated. It's a totally complex structure, and its functions can actually affect your life on a daily basis. The things that the limbic system controls can affect your life on a daily basis. So it's really important to understand how it works, and how your lifestyle can affect your limbic system. Right? So most essential oil users inhale essential oils. That's in aromatherapy. Inhalation is probably the main form of use. And the reason that people like them so much is that you experience such good psychological effects from doing that, because the molecules are inhaled and go into your respiratory system and right into your brain, into your limbic system. And there's a great quote: when it's routed to our brain, we identify the smell and in some cases have an emotional response to that smell. So you can actually have an emotional response to a smell. And you probably have an experience in your life when you've walked into a room and you smelled something and immediately it triggers a thought or a memory. And it's interesting because inhalation actually has even shown to have a quicker effect at distributing like sedative properties of oils in the brain, which is really cool. So because essential oils affect the part of your brain that plays a role in emotions and behaviors and memory, you can use essential oils to access that in a proactive way. which is like stress reduction. You can use oils purposely to reduce the stress in your life by the smell and the emotion, the feeling, the behavior, and the memory that's associated with that smell. There's a whole line of therapy called aroma freedom technique that uses a variety of oils to actually stimulate you to associate the smell with a belief system and change a pattern of behavior that you have, which is, it's a very cool therapeutic tool. So let's talk a little bit about some oils that you can use to start trying this process of activating your limbic system in a very purposeful and proactive way to reduce your stress. Now, you remember I talked about adrenal fatigue. Well, there's some oils that actually support your adrenal glands. Now, your adrenal glands are part of your hormone system, which is controlled by your brain, but your adrenals produce cortisol. And that cortisol helps regulate your metabolism, and it helps your body respond to stress. Your adrenals also produce something called aldosterone, which helps control blood pressure. So it controls your energy and your blood pressure. So you got to really love on your adrenals. Now, there's a couple of things that are not essential oil related, but there's a couple of supplements or things like omega oils, healthy fats are also very, very important for your adrenal glands. So either MindWise or OmegaGize in Young Living supplements or healthy fats in food are super important to your adrenals, and they help you with normalizing blood sugar levels as well and increasing your metabolism while maintaining stable cortisol levels, which is the bonus all around. But after my heart attack, I really started to support my adrenal glands, which your thyroid glands is a part of that system, which are here. And then, but your adrenal glands are actually just above your kidneys. So just above the small of your back, you've got kind of a little couple bumps there, just across the small of your back there is where your adrenal glands are. And my favorite way of supporting my adrenal glands is these three oils: nutmeg, clove, and rosemary. They all contain properties that support our adrenal glands and help us with that cortisol rush, which is a stress responder, remember? Nutmeg is super comforting and soothing and actually helps boost your energy. Smells fantastic. And so if you're feeling like increased fatigue all the time, that's probably a sign that your adrenals aren't functioning that great. So nutmeg is a really good oil for that. And I actually have nutmeg on my desk with a roller ball on the top because I use it. So I use it every day. I put it on my thyroid just because I love the smell of it. And then I roll it across the small of my back twice a day.
And that just nutmeg, or is that the blend?
No, just nutmeg.
It's nutmeg. Okay.
You can make a blend of this, and it would be like a super powerful, lovely blend. I just have the nutmeg. I do have all the oils, but I haven't made a roller blend, but I just use them individually.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So clove also supports energy levels, and it actually, it really does boost that kind of feeling of less fatigue. And then rosemary does, it provides some stress supports, just kind of lowers that stress level from the smell. And combining these in a roller bottle is a great way to support your adrenals. And you can apply it morning and night. And you'll find that it actually helps you in the morning get going if you're not a morning person. And that, like I said, I just keep it on my desk so I can, if I'm feeling kind of blah in the day or just kind of brain foggy or unmotivated, I put some of this on, nutmeg or the 3 clove nutmeg and rosemary. Now, I've also listened to a really good podcast on the essential oil revolution, where one of the guest speakers also added grapefruit to this mix, just for the uplifting and mood boosting component of citrus. And she said that nutmeg and grapefruit are like a great combination for adrenals. Then there's probably my favorite oil in the whole wide world. I adore Stress Away. It's copaiba, lime, cedarwood, vanilla, ocotillo, and lavender in that little bottle. And I think I credit Stress Away and Valor together as the 2 oils that helped me mentally survive the mindset hit that I took when I had my heart attacks. It is just amazing. It makes you feel calm and peaceful, because all of those things together, all of those oils, the copaiba, the lime, cedarwood, and vanilla, they all just blend together to relax your body. And it is amazing. So here's why it works. So copaiba, which is a great oil all on its own, but it's an oleo resin. So it's kind of like frankincense. It's made from the resin, and it's a little bit different than an actual essential oil, but we use it as an essential oil interchangeably. So it's like kind of like frankincense. It's made from the resin of the copaiba tree, which is from Brazil. And it has a ton of great things about it. It supports the body's response to inflammation. So it's great for sore muscles, teething babies. It supports intestinal and gut health. And gut health is now being linked to all kinds of things related to stress and how your gut health is impacted by stress. And it also has the highest rate of something called beta carotene, which is the component similar to the component in marijuana, in CBD. It doesn't have the intoxicating side effects, and it doesn't have the testing implications, and it just works to calm your body. It's really, really good for sleep because of that. It also stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which is a really good thing. So lime, which is the next oil, has a great, all citrus oils have a great uplifting property because of their just fabulous smell, just makes you feel lighter and happier. So it helps also purify your cells too. So and smells fantastic. Cedarwood, which is another one that's in here, is high in a component called sesquiterpenes. And sesquiterpenes are really important because they stimulate the limbic part of the brain, the center of emotions and memory in particular. So sesquiterpenes are the ones that can pass the blood-brain barrier. And it stimulates your pineal gland, which, yahoo, releases melatonin. So if you're having trouble sleeping, your pineal gland is probably not releasing melatonin properly, so you're not getting that fatigue if you have trouble going to sleep. Cedarwood can help you with that. And then also vanilla, also really, really good for mood elevation and relaxation. It weakens the stress response, and it helps to numb food cravings, which is awesome. The last two, and it doesn't have sugar in it. So you put a drop of that in your evening tea.
Vanilla? Sorry, was it the vanilla that helps with the cravings, or is that the Stress Away in general?
Vanilla. The vanilla in the Stress Away, but that's why vanilla is in there. Okay. Because often under stress, where your cortisol is high, it's releasing hormones that make you want to eat. Cortisol is known for having you crave sugary and fatty foods for energy, so that you have the energy to run away from the lion.
Mhm.
Vanilla helps calm those cravings.
Good to know.
Yeah, isn't it? Like, it's very cool. And then the ocotillo actually also helps that. Ocotillo is kind of similar to cinnamon, and it helps to support normal blood sugar levels. And if your blood sugar levels are normal, you're not going to feel those hunger pains. And then, of course, the last one, lavender. Well, everybody knows how calming and relaxing lavender is. Lavender on its own is a great response to stress in your bath, in your hair, on your pillow before you go to bed, lots of those places. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little, we already talked about copaiba in the stress away. I don't think I've got any notes here that, oh, I got a few notes. So there's a couple more things about copaiba that we should know. It helps your body flush toxins. And it actually helps with inflammation, like I said. So a teething baby, you can put some of the Vitality copaiba on your finger and rub it on a baby's gums. It will be perfectly healthy for the baby, and it will help reduce the soreness there. So that's about, I think I've covered everything about copaiba. And then there's endoflex. Now, endoflex is another blend. And it's another blend that I have on my desk with a roller ball on it, because endoflex is your thyroid's best friend. And the problem is that your thyroid is significantly affected by stress. And it's interesting to note that when I was in my 30s and under an enormous amount of pressure and stress, because my husband at the time was an alcoholic and I had little babies, my thyroid quit. That was how my body responded to stress when I was 30. And so I, had been on thyroid medication since my 30s. And had I known at the time about this, I would have opted for this instead. And I still use it. I put it on my thyroid every day, a couple times a day. And it's wonderful. This is the oil that this is one of the oils that actually made me believe that this stuff actually works. I started to see how much less fatigue I had, and how I felt better every day after using this. This stuff smells, it's amazing how it smells. It has spearmint, which is, I think, for me, the thing that I smell right off the top. Has spearmint, sage, geranium, which is great for women and hormones, myrtle, German chamomile, and nutmeg, which we talked about earlier. This one supports your endocrine system, which also regulates our metabolism. It really regulates our sexual function, regulates our sleep, and it helps regulate our mood. And it also helps support the pineal and the pituitary glands and the adrenals. So this is a great addition to your daily routine. Now you can also take this, if you don't have the roller ball, if you just have a drop, you can put a drop of this over your liver or kidney areas, and it helps to support those functions. If you are waking up between 2 and 3 in the morning all the time, Chinese medicine will tell you that that is the hour that your liver and gallbladder detox. And if you're waking up at that point, they need some help. This will give them a little bit of help. You roll it on your liver area before you go to bed at night, and you just let it help. Let it help your liver. Endoflex also comes in a Vitality line, so you can ingest it. And it's often taken in either a drop under your tongue or in a capsule. And it's really, really helpful for those hormonally imbalanced teenagers. So that is Endoflex. Those are the main oils that I would recommend if you are suffering from significant stress. These are not, I'm under a little bit of stress and I just want to kind of chill out oils. These are, I'm under intense pressure. I'm starting to notice my body systems kind of breaking down. My sleep is interrupted. I have a brain fog. I'm tired all day. These are the kind of top oils that you want to be using for that. And then you can incorporate other oils in meditation as you like. But the clove, nutmeg, rosemary, stress away, copaiba, and endoflex are your like warriors for chronic debilitating stress. So as always, there are ways to order these products, and Jody knows all about this because she's already a Young Living oiler. But you can order retail, which it's just like ordering from Amazon. You go online, you make an account, you order what you want, you purchase it in retail, they send it to you. All is wonderful. If you are like me and you like to get a really good deal on things, you can order wholesale, and you open up ordering wholesale by having a purchase of 100 product value at the beginning, and 100 PV is roughly equivalent to $100 in product. It might be a little bit more. For Canadians, it tends to be about $135 to $150 the first time, and then you get 12 months of wholesale purchasing power, which is 24% off retail. So if you'd prefer to save 24% right off the top, this is the way to do it. Better yet, you can order these things on a subscription or if you're in the US, or Essential Rewards if you're in Canada. And what that means is that you put this on a monthly order, which you can change at any time and as many times as you want. And you keep a PV of 50, which is like roughly equivalent to $50. And what happens then, the reason why this is such a good deal is that you get a percentage back into your account to spend on other things. So when you first start out, it's 10%. And I think after 6 months, it goes up to 20%. And then after 2 years, it's 25%. So after 2 years of purchasing things that you're going to use to help your body stay healthy, you're getting 25% of that back into your account to use to purchase other things. And I tend to save it all up and go shopping in the American store, because when I use my saved up points in the American store, I don't have to pay exchange. All I have to do is pay for delivery. So it's a huge good deal to do that. So those are the ways to order. If you're thinking about ordering after watching this video, and you still have some questions, pop me a personal message or an email or a note in the New Perspective Oilers Facebook group and just ask the question. I'm happy to walk through the first time ordering with people. It can be somewhat confusing. So I'm happy to sit with you on the phone while you go through the ordering process and answer any questions that you have about any of the products. And I think with Young Living having over 600 products, once you get started, you start realizing how many things you can stop buying at the grocery store and start buying from Young Living, get money back, and get a better product. So, any questions? Any questions, Joe?
No, I'm good.
Cool. I also have lots of other breathing exercises. If those two intrigue you and you try them and you want some more, just send me a message and I can teach you a few other ones, particularly ones if you have a day when you're going and you know that you're going to be having a lot of people coming at you, asking you questions and wanting something from you. I got a perfect exercise for that. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And thanks for joining me tonight. It's been great. Just remember that stress actually accumulates in your body, and if you leave it too long, the consequences can be extremely significant. Luckily here in Canada, I didn't get a bill when I left the hospital, and my bill would have been a lot because I had to be helicoptered from one city to another. And it's expensive. It's expensive to the system. It's expensive to my family. It took an immense emotional and mental toll on me. And it's all because the stress in my life just got so overwhelming that my body couldn't take it anymore. So really consider what your lifestyle is like and think about ways of reducing the things that bring you the most stress. And if you can't reduce that, the actual thing, then work on how you respond to it and use your oils. So good night, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Good night. Thank you.
Have a good night, Jody.
Good night.